Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good weekend so far, and welcome back to Subnautica Below Zero, where we've just finished our conversation with Margarite. Best character in the game if you ask me, and that's it, she's done, we never see her again. Now, if like me you think that seems like a bit of a wasted opportunity, what do you know? You're not a professional script writer. There are people who get paid to write these scripts. They clearly know better than we do. Anyway, onwards and upwards. We've finished talking to Margarite. She's explained what happened to our sister Sam, so we no longer really have any need to pursue that particular avenue investigation any further either. So what exactly does that leave us to do? Well, we still have to find a body for Alan. So I've cleared my waypoint markers of everything other than the location of Fort Jingles and any architect fragments that I haven't actually investigated yet. Sea truck docking module fragment. If I ever manage to get my hands on the prawn suit, I'm going to need that. That's what allows the prawn suit to dock on the back of the sea truck. So that's going to be useful, he said, far too optimistically, because the poor blind fool does not yet realise that you don't actually need the prawn suit in order to complete the game. I mean, it does come in useful for certain things, but you absolutely don't need it.
This artifact could provide useful information. Processing. I can visualize a location where we may find an important component for my body. The image is hazy, but I am sure it is correct. A stark surface landscape, dangerously cold. Curved spires stretch to the sky. How do humans cope with the loss of memories?
Like forgetting someone's birthday? I don't know, it just happens.
When you die, some quantity of knowledge is lost forever to the next generation. Isn't that...
I'm warning you, if you call humanity inefficient one more time, I will swim us both into the mouth of a Leviathan.
Is that sarcasm? I am still having trouble differentiating.
How inefficient?
Efficiency aside, does the loss of knowledge not create complications?
Well, on a personal level, losing someone can be traumatic. But it's harder to process the idea of generational knowledge. Humans aren't networked, so we can't even be aware of what we're losing moment by moment. We try to learn from history. Maybe it's not ideal, but it's what we have.
What happens when you no longer have the memories of others to combine with your own?
You make your own memories and interpretations. You have to experience life as an autonomous being. Discover yourself.
That idea is foreign to me.
Alan was just talking about a cold area on the surface where he sensed another fragment of the, well, not really his body. It's going to be his body, but the bits that we need to make a body for him. And that is literally the only reason you need... Oh, there we go, we've got the docking module fragments complete, so nice. At this point I still think I might actually need that. Spoiler alert, you don't. But yes, at this point, the only thing that you actually need to venture onto the surface for is to find that last fragment of the architect body components. Don't get me wrong, it's not that there are not useful things on the surface. You're going to find, for example, the power cell charger. But I don't need the power cell charger because I've got the moon pool, and the moon pool will also charge the power cells of any vehicles that are docked, so I don't actually need a power cell charger. I certainly don't need to go up onto the surface in order to find more details of what happened to my sister Sam, because Margarite just explained to me what happened to my sister. There are other useful things on the surface. The cold suit, for example. But like the cold suit, the other things that you're going to find on the surface are only really useful for exploring the surface. And as we've already established, I don't need to explore the surface for anything other than that last architect fragment. I can't help but get the impression that the game developers have kind of written themselves into a bit of a corner here. Oh well. Let's go further down this particular rabbit hole. I'm trying to find another artifact location. I have a waypoint to it, but well, these underwater deep cave locations are such a labyrinth. Simply knowing the direction that you're supposed to go because you've got a waypoint marker doesn't really help. Now, I'm pretty sure that at the moment I'm being led deeper and deeper into these crystal caves. And because I did play through Below Zero in early access, and because we ran into it earlier in this playthrough, I know that there is at least one Ghost Leviathan down here. The thing is, the last thing that I picked up from Margarite was the Sea Truck Perimeter Defense System. This is a system that draws from your power cells to generate an electrical discharge and basically discourage anything from chewing on the hull of your sea truck. Now, you had this in the original Subnautica, and I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that, while Leviathan class Snurglies weren't too impressed by it. Here in Below Zero, however, oh look, a Ghost Leviathan. Okay, I was actually moderately scared at this point. Oh shit! And then I simply triggered the perimeter defense system, and it buggered off. That was not even a full charge, by the way. In fact, it was barely a charge at all. You can see the perimeter defense system highlighted down there at the bottom of the screen on the right hand side. With that highlighted, by pressing 4 every time you get into the sea truck, you hold down the left mouse button to generate the charge. And I barely let it go for longer than a second before releasing it. So it was probably only a fifth of the potential of the perimeter defense system's charge, and that was enough to see off a Ghost Leviathan. And as quickly as that, Unknown Worlds have managed to remove any sense of threat and danger from the game whatsoever. I am no longer scared of Leviathans, because why should I be? It took a bite out of the sea truck, but I have a repair tool, I can fix that. It took about 15% of my hull integrity. Like I said, I can fix that, that's not an issue. As long as I have a battery for the repair tool, I don't need to worry about the sea truck's hull integrity. And I now know that the most fearsome monster in the game, the Ghost Leviathan, can be seen off with a little tickle. Just the merest prod from the sea truck's perimeter defense system. And this was such a huge part of the original game, that sense of dread, that fear of the unknown. I mean, I genuinely shit myself, figuratively, when I saw even a Reaper Leviathan. And when you see the Sea Dragon Leviathans later on in the original game, suddenly your massive Cyclops-class submarine doesn't seem so safe, because they were a real threat. In Below Zero, not so much. One of the other things, I mean, as you see here, I can just hide from it. It can't actually reach me down here in the sea truck in these cracks and crevices. And that was another thing that made the Leviathan so dangerous in the original game, because at the kind of depths where you were more likely to encounter them, you couldn't go that far down in the sea moth, which could hide in these kind of nooks and crannies. You had to use the Cyclops, and the Cyclops was huge, and it couldn't hide from them. And I can kind of see where they were going with the modular nature of the sea truck. I mean, at the moment I'm just swimming around in the cab, but there are all kinds of different modules that you can fit to the sea truck, which do make it a lot bigger and a lot less vulnerable. Oh, he's back. Fire up the perimeter defense system. Again, about a fifth of a charge, and it's more than enough to see off what's supposed to be the scariest creature in the game. But yeah, I mean, as I was saying, I can kind of see where they were going with the whole modularity of the sea truck, because like I said, at the moment, hiding in these nooks and crannies from the Ghost Leviathan, even though I don't need to actually hide from it, I can just use the perimeter defense upgrade to scare it off. But hiding in these small nooks and crannies is only really possible because I don't have any of the additional modules strapped to the back of the sea truck cab. And there are, I think, 6 different modules that you could have. The aquarium module, which you don't need. The prawn suit docking module, which you don't need because you don't need the prawn suit. The fabricator module, the sleeper module, the storage module, the teleportation module. You don't need any of them. So I can always hide in all of these little nooks and crannies so that the Ghost Leviathan can't get to me. And if it does manage to get to me, I just zap it. And all sense of threat and danger is removed. They took something from the first game that was genuinely scary. I mean, those of you who've watched my original Subnautica playthrough and my Subnautica live streams, it was brown alert almost constantly once you got down below a certain depth. But they've taken that, and in below zero they've just reduced it to a simple mathematical formula. I have 61% hull integrity. The Ghost Leviathan takes about 15% off every time it takes a bite, so I can afford to take 4 more bites, and then I'll have to stop and repair the sea truck. And that is how scary below zero is. It's almost as if Unknown Worlds have absolutely no idea what it was that made their original game so successful. Well, anyway, quite some time later, because trust me, these crystal caves are an absolute maze, I eventually get a hint that I'm probably heading in the right direction.
The crystals in this environment are confusing my senses, and yet I feel certain there is something important below. A facility or a body component. Perhaps both. I cannot tell.
The best advice I can give you for finding this place is that when you enter the crystal caves, just hug the left-hand side of the cavern wall. And then you will find... It's actually behind me. Come on, Jingles, turn around. Turn around. There. That sort of crystal cathedral. You find that, head into the middle of it. No, Jingles. Jingles, don't get distracted. There it is. That's what you're looking for. At this point I was doubtful that the sea truck could actually make it.
There is definitely something of value nearby. It could help you build my body.
I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've got all 3 depth upgrades for the sea truck. I can go down to 1,000 meters, but I'm at nearly 800. If this goes any further down, I may need to go away and come back with a prawn suit, which I haven't actually discovered yet. We're now approaching 800 meters, and it's still going down. There's some architect markers. I just keep following them, and yep, here we are, 830 meters down. Oh, a crash fish. At this depth? Okay, whatever. And I can't go in any further in the sea truck. I'm going to have to go on foot. Alright. So, what do we have in here? Let us bravely venture forth and find out. Scanner at the ready, because there's going to be some goodies down here. Remember, I've got 1 part of Alan's body. There are 3 components. Alan's told me that he had a vision of the 3rd or 2nd or one of the parts above ground in a cold expanse surrounded by tall icy spires. So that's going to be up on the glacier somewhere. Hopefully this is the 2nd part. Something that I should probably point out at this point, and bearing in mind that I've spent at least 2 hours of game time either not knowing where I was supposed to be going or just collecting raw materials, but I've put around about 12 hours into below zero, and I am now, because that is an architect body part, 2/3 of the way through.
You will be able to construct bionic organs with the scanned material, both primary and secondary. Our designs provide for redundancies.
Given your current location, I think they could still be improved.
Your feedback has been noted.
2/3 of the way through the game after 12 hours of gameplay. And there are still 2, I think, major areas of the game that I haven't actually visited. And I'm going to have to visit one of them, above water on the glacier, in order to get the 3rd and final piece of Alan's body. But the other major area that people keep telling me I need to go and visit because it's where the last bits of the prawn suit are is, I think they call it the Omega mining base, and it's not very far at all from Delta Island where the satellite tower was. The thing is, it's an absolute twat to get to in the sea truck, even if you don't have any modules attached. And the other thing is, you don't actually need to go there. I mean, you know, Subnautica is a exploration and survival game. If you want to get into the spirit things and you want to explore, then yes, you should go there. It's definitely worth the visit. Well, it's such a pain in the arse to get to in the sea truck, I'm not even sure it's definitely worth the visit, but it is an unexplored place and we are going to explore it. If for no other reason than because I feel like I should get my money's worth out of Below Zero. But you don't need to go there, and we're now just one architect artifact away from completing the game after 12 hours. Can I at least say how good the music is in Subnautica Below Zero? Because again, you know, sound design is one element of games that is often overlooked. Sound and music. They go a long way towards establishing atmosphere. And both the sound design and the music was exceptional in Subnautica, and it's exceptional in Below Zero too. Credit where credit is due. But anyway, 2 pieces of Alan's body down, 1 to go. You'd think you'd have something to say on the subject.
We have found 2 of the 3 components required for the construction of my corporeal form. This is as close as I have come to autonomy in a long time.
You have such a way with words.
Is that sarcasm?
It was. You're learning.
Hopefully, I will not have time to complete my study.
I was wondering, if you can transfer bodies, why was it important to find a cure when you were infected? Couldn't you just make a new body?
As you can see in the components you have scanned thus far, the forms we require combine biological and mechanical parts. The tissues you have scanned were developed from the DNA of 27 separate alien species.
27? That seems greedy. And wouldn't that mean that anything that infects a body you've manufactured can potentially learn how to infect all those other species?
Yes, that is why a cure was imperative.
Thanks, Alan. Meanwhile, join me in the next episode where I will be exploring the Omega mining base, not because I need to, but because I want to. I've paid good money for this game. I want to see everything that it has to offer. And you will not believe the hoops that you have to jump through in order to get there in the sea truck. You can walk into the Omega mining base, or more accurately swim into the Omega mining base, but you cannot fully explore it under your own power. You require something like the sea truck to regularly top off your oxygen supply. And how can I put this without spoilers? You can get into the Omega base through the back route in the sea truck, and it's an utter nightmare. And I'm fairly sure that most people, faced with the realisation that in order to get out with their sea truck they're going to have to go back the nightmarish route that they came, they're probably just going to strip their sea truck of everything valuable, abandon it, swim out through the front door and just build themselves another sea truck. And that is certainly what I was contemplating having to do once I had fully explored Omega Base, but then things happened. Again, I don't want to give too many spoilers away here, but there was a rather fortuitous bug that I encountered, and I've already said too much. You're just going to have to watch the next episode and find out. But that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope you're all having a great weekend. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.